I just hate getting seen by cops. I don't care whether I'm doing something bad or not. I don't even know what the speed limit is on that road. It's either 35 or 45. But that kind of makes a difference when you're doing, I won't say what we're doing because that's incriminating. You guys miss the R6? It's been a while. It has been a freaking minute since we rode the R6. Dude, everyone, well, not that house. Everyone else has a freaking 3-car garage over here. This is nice. Whoops. Came just short of that daily 100. I didn't mean to. Oh man, it has been a while. Oh, I thought I could make that. Thought I could make that without touching. Didn't want to risk it. So there's no biscuit to be got. So the past 6 months or so have proven to be pretty exciting in the world of electric motorcycles. Of course, we had Harley Davidson finally revealing the LiveWire that they've been working on for, God, Lord knows how long they've been working on that one. Finally came out with the final you know, production look for it, along with the price tag on the bike. They've also got some specs, but they're not finalized specs from as far as I can tell. Take that with a grain of salt. But and there have been a few other companies, a few smaller companies that have announced newer models of the electric bikes that they have. But the most exciting one, I think, is the recently announced, and by recently I mean like 2 days ago, maybe, Zero Motorcycles. And if you haven't heard of Zero Motorcycles, you probably just haven't been paying attention, but they're the most successful, most mainstream electric motorcycle manufacturer, and they're solely electric, not like Harley Davidson. If you didn't know, Harley is not just an electric motorcycle manufacturer, but Zero Motorcycles have been doing electric bikes for a while now, and they have production bikes that you can go out and buy right now that are in, you know, regular dealerships. But they just announced their latest bike, and this is kind of their halo bike. It's the bike that really, I think, going to take them more mainstream than they are already. The reason I say that is because Harley comes out with their LiveWire, or announces their LiveWire, which I don't think is going to be actually released until later in 2019. But it comes out with a price tag of $30,000. I think the range on that bike is 110 city miles. I think it's rated for 110 city. $30,000 for the LiveWire. And when that was announced, everyone kind of had a collective sigh, because we've been waiting on that bike for ages, thinking Harley was, you know, finally going to turn the corner. They've been struggling with sales for years now, struggling to pull on younger riders that they need to kind of hold their brand together, because it's, you know, those lifelong commitments that Harley has kind of strived on for so long. But if you're not picking up new riders, then you know, all your older riders are either stopped riding or they're dying off. And it finally looked like Harley was, you know, gonna take a chance with electric bikes, and they kind of just fell flat on their face, because how many younger riders are going to be able to put down 30 grand for an electric bike? And how many of the Harley faithful are going to put down 30 grand for an electric bike? You know, the traditional Harley rider just loves what a Harley is, or what they have been. You know, the Harley sound, complete opposite of what you're going to get from an electric bike. So when they came out with a 30 grand bike, man, I was shocked. But that's the reason that I'm so excited for the recently announced Zero motorcycle bike, which is the SRF. And if you're unfamiliar with their lines so far, they have a few different bikes. They have a supermoto, they have a dual sport, they have a street bike, and then well, maybe that's it. Maybe they just have the dual sports, the supermoto, and the street bike. It's the SR, the DSR, which is the dual sport, and then they have the FXS, which is the supermoto. There might be another one in there somewhere, but those are the bikes that they've had so far. And the SR has kind of been their, I guess, premier model, their most expensive, and the one with the highest range potential, so the ability to go the farthest on a single charge. And that one comes with a 14.4 kilowatt hour battery with a 3.6 kilowatt hour add-on option, and I think it can get a maximum of 220 or I think it's rated for like 223 miles of city range. But with the fastest charging options that they have on that bike, I think it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours to do to charge the battery up to 95%. The reason they say 95% because the last 5% it has to go a lot slower. But that's kind of been their premier bike, and I think it's got a top speed of around 104. But the SRF, the one that was announced this week, is awesome. Now it's still on the expensive side, so it's not going to be in the you know, attainable range for a lot of people. But I see this kind of like the Tesla Model S when that was first released. You know, they had their, you know, proof of concept in the Tesla Roadster, the original Tesla Roadster. Focus on looking for cops. I wasn't even paying attention to the shifting. So yeah, I think of the SRF a lot like the Tesla Model S when that was released, because they had the Roadster and that was like their proof of concept. That was the first one that they were actually selling to you know, consumers, but it wasn't, you know, the full-fledged, ironed out, finalized, you know, Halo version, if you will, that they released with the Model S. The Model S was the first one that they had with their new connector that could be used with all their supercharger networks, so you could charge at the super fast rates. It had all the super awesome you know, features and options, fully connected to cell networks, so you can, you know, control the car from your phone, you know, relatively check things like charging rates, and, you know, you can leave your car charged, go someplace else, you can connect to it so you can see where it is and, you know, how much charge it has. And the SRF actually has a lot of those new features on the new bike. The bike is cell connected, it's got a brand new mobile app. So they had a mobile app before with their current bikes, but it's super primitive. Like you look at the you look at the current app and it looks like it was designed for an iPhone 3G. But the new one looks really nice. A lot of the same stuff that you can go and do on the Tesla. Obviously, you're not going to be like controlling climate control and things like that. But, you know, this is a big step forward. The dash, the new dash on the bike looks awesome. Well, let's just take a step back. The bike itself, it looks really cool. It maintains the same kind of naked bike style as the SR, but it looks a lot more refined. It doesn't look as cheap as the current SR looks. They have one version that has like a, it's kind of like an eggshell blue, like that, you know, that real light blue color with like bronze or like a goldish accents on the bike. I don't know, it just looks really cool. I'll probably have it on the screen already so you guys can see it, but it's, I love it so much. But it looks a lot better than the SR does. Honestly, I think it looks a lot like the Yamaha MT-07. The headlight looks nearly identical, if you know, from memory. It's just a, you know, a really good looking bike. But yeah, the gauges on the bike, super nice. Fully like color electric screen that you'll see on, you know, a lot of the newer sport bikes. Brand new motor. It's got full, I guess the Bosch motorcycle system. I'm not too familiar with it, but it's their whole, you know, bike like traction, stabilization, all that control system. It's supposed to be pretty good. Have to test it out, but I think it starts at $19,000 and goes up to maybe $21,000 if you go for the premium option. But that one's going to give you like heated grips. It gives you the rapid charger, but I think both models can produce 110 horsepower, good for a max speed of 124. So the SR, like I mentioned, I think the top speed was 104. So this one's going to be top speed of 124. The range, it doesn't have that that expansion option. So I mentioned that the SR had 14.4 kilowatt hour battery with the option for an additional 3.6, but you can have a 6 kilowatt charger on it, and that's going to be able to charge the bike 0 to 95% in an hour. Now obviously I mentioned this when I did my first rides on the other Zero motorcycles, and I'll put those down in the description if you want to see my experiences on those, but it's not going to be made for everyone. Not everyone is going to be able to get by on an electric bike, but with the SR and now the SRF, a lot of people can. You know, if you're just using this bike as something that you commute to and from work on, you go for, you know, a fun couple-hour ride on the weekend, it's going to be able to do that more than fine. The new one, so like I said, it doesn't have the expandable battery option, but I think the battery that it's coming with now, and there might be an expandable option later coming, I don't know, their stuff on it has been a little bit confusing, but rated for 160 miles. You know, everyone wonders what it can do on the highway, and I think at 70 miles per hour maintained, it's supposed to be rated for 82 miles, which isn't a whole lot, but you know, how many people are commuting 40 miles to and from each way, to and from work each day? You never have to worry about putting gas in the bike, which too many times I had to do when I was commuting on my motorcycle, because I'd be rushing in the morning, I'd forget that I had to get gas, and I'd have to stop on the way when I'm running late. I have a Tesla, I have a Model X, and that's one of the things that I've loved the most about that, is I never have to worry about filling up, because I plug it in when I get home, so it's always full. Alright, we're gonna get that daily 100 in here. Man, those newer school buses, the ones with like the massive windows on the side, look so freaking nice. I know that's kind of weird, I mean, like, but for real, those things look good. Had to stop for a second because I thought I hadn't started my GoPro. Turns out I did. But while I stopped, I double checked on the expandable battery option, and it's coming later in the year. That's what's going to give it a 200 mile range, but the base battery pack is rated for 161 city miles. But the 6 kilowatt rapid charger is the thing that I think really defines this release. Aside from like the complete overhaul and the fact that this thing is supposed to be able to hit 124 at 110 horsepower. By the way, 110 horsepower, awesome. I think that's about what my R6 makes. 140 foot-pounds of torque. That is ridiculous, and it's instant. But the fact that you're going to be able to charge this thing in an hour is just awesome. For the vast majority of people in the riding they do, this is going to be more than fine in terms of range. The other cool thing about the electric dash that they have that goes along with their new app, you can completely customize it, all from the app. You can customize what shows up on the gauges. So that's why this is really looking to me like what the Model S was for Tesla. Yes, it's going to be very expensive compared to other bikes. They have their cheaper options. If you want to go with one of their cheaper options, you can. You know, I think it's going to be trickle down, just like everything on any vehicle is. It all trickles down from the more expensive bikes. But even with Zero stretching things out a bit in terms of price, up to $19,000 for a starting price on this bike, when you compare it to the other like premier electric bike that's going to be available, look at all the stuff you're getting for $11,000 less than the LiveWire. I just don't get it. I do not understand what Harley was thinking. I don't understand, unless they have something up their sleeves and they're releasing like a LiveWire 2 or like a LiveWire Lite in the next 2 years that's half the price. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I know that this is going to be their first electric bike and they probably had a ton of R&D costs, but if they're going to make a change and kind of bring their brand into the 21st century, they gotta make some changes and they gotta make them quick. But I'm really excited. I really want to see what it's like. The Zero bikes I rode so far are a lot of fun, but for the price, I think the quality seemed, not the quality, but you know, the materials they're made out of, it just seemed like more of a cheap bike than something that was, you know, super solid. But from the looks of it, the SRF is really going to change things. It looks like it's a lot more high quality, you know, high value material, high value bike in general than what they've done so far. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I've made a few impression videos like this in the past for other bikes, so if you like these kinds of things, let me know down in the comments if you want to see me do this for more bikes that get announced. I really like making these. I love keeping up with the new bikes that are released. I just don't always make videos about them. But if you like it, let me know. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Turn on those notifications so you guys get notified of all my videos. Those are my first impressions of the Zero SRF. You guys are awesome. I've been Motonosity. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Motonosity on both of those. You can find the links down in the description. Otherwise, remember, life's better with horsepower. Keep life lived. And I'll see you guys in the next one.